Good morning. First of all, I thank the President, Secretary, and the Council of KSM for inviting me to deliver this lecture. Is your child picky eater? Now, 50% of children are described by their parents as picky eaters. Who is a picky eater? He only eats limited variety of foods, and he only eats small meals, and only eats what he likes, and don't like fruits or vegetables, and won't try new foods, and eats very slowly. This is very common thing that you come across day-to-day work, especially in your practice. And he's not interested in food. So when a child comes to you, what are you going to do? So what I do is I go through the child health developmental record and see whether his centiles as per schedule, and take a 24-hour dietary recall and find out what he's given, and calculate the body mass index and see whether it's whether he has a healthy BMI. So if his growth is as per schedule, there is no reason you to worry. Even the mother says small amounts are being taken. So what you have to convince the mother is that he's taking food for his capacity. So, for instance, that a neonate, a newborn, his stomach capacity is 20 ml, 20 to 30 ml. That means 4 to 6 teaspoons, right? So he can't take more than that for a pee. So similarly, a 1-year-old child, he can only take 200 ml. So that is what you have to explain to mother. So if his growth is not as per schedule, then you have to think what you are going to do. Now, more significant proportion of children comes to us. If you can see here, now this is the characteristic pattern of growth that we will see in the clinics, right? So up to 6 months, there's the growth lies on the green area. After that, there is faltering of growth. So what is the reason for this? There are several reasons. Number one is frequent milk feed at the expense of complementary feeds. So in other words, the mother gives him too much of milk feed. Number two, delay in introducing appropriate solids. Number three, inadequate energy density of supplementary foods. Number four, avoidance of oil and fat due to cultural beliefs. Number five, use of semi-solid and liquid feed beyond the critical period, leading to refusal of solid. That again a very common complaint that mothers tell you that කිසිම කෑලි කෑම මොකක්වත් ගන්නෙ නැහැ, right? Number 6 is prolonged breastfeeding. Again, in our culture, it's another problem, prolonged breastfeeding, right? So I'd say these are the 7 golden rules that I'll explain to the mother when there is growth faltering. So we'll take one by one. The exclusive breastfeeding for first 6 months. Sorry. So therefore, families should be counseled regarding exclusive breastfeeding for first 6 months because it is adequate for the first 6 months. Number two is start weaning at correct time and age. And number three, avoid early weaning or late weaning and avoid prolonged breastfeeding and eat healthy meals and decrease intake of junk food and the decrease intake of sugar-filled beverages. So you have to counsel the mother on each. So first one, the exclusive breastfeeding for first 6 months. Now, if you go through this chart, that you can see the average energy requirements goes up with the age, but the energy supplied by breast milk is adequate only for the first 6 months. After the age of 6 months, the energy supplied by breast milk goes down. So if you don't start supplementary feeds at this stage, then there will be an energy gap. The same thing will happen if you go, if the mother gives more milk feeds than the supplementary feeds beyond the age of 6 months. So you have to explain that to the mother. So that is what is called weaning. So the objectives of the weaning is to increase energy need with increasing age and fulfill increase in nutritional gap between requirement and supplied by breast milk and to supply sufficient quantity of iron because the milk contains less iron and introduce new taste and texture to the baby. So second golden rule is to start weaning at correct time and age. Now, there are 3 signs tell you that your baby is ready for their first feed. Number one, he should be able to sit upright on a lap and hold their head steady. That you can very well understand. It is very difficult to take something when you are in the lying down position. So your head should be up. Number two, should be able to coordinate their eyes, hands and mouth. So he can look at the food, pick it up and put it in their mouth, all by themselves. Number three, he should be able to swallow semi-solid food. So it is very rare for those signs to appear before the baby 6 months of age. So we recommend 4 to 6 months is the ideal for this. The 6 months guideline is based on research, depend on the development of the baby. So babies who are not ready for weaning will push their food back out, and so they get more around their face than they do in their mouth. That is what happens if you do early weaning. So your baby is ready for solid food with their neurodevelopmental maturation and with their anatomical changes in the oral cavity, lower jaw and lips, and their digestive systems are mature, and their kidneys are able to handle extrasolute load, and they have achieved the risk of developing reduced risk of developing allergies. That is because of it reduced permeability to large molecules. So your baby is ready for solid food when they are double the birth rate. If his birth rate is 2.5, usually the 5 kilo is the time that you can start feeds. So they should be at least 4 months of old, right? You cannot start weaning before that. And not satisfied just breast milk or formula alone and wants it more frequent. And is interested in new taste and trying to grab food and put it in their mouth. Sometimes this chewing fist and wanting extra milk feeds and waking in the night can be mistaken for a baby's being ready for solid foods by mothers, right? Now they think if child do this, milk is not adequate, right? So that is a normal phenomena. So you cannot go by this. And sometimes they cry for extra milk. So that is normal. And waking in the night, that can happen for any reason, right? So it is not a clue for to start your weaning. So babies typically begin self-feeding around 6 months and will reach food as early as 4 months. Some will reach food as early as 4 months, and some will wait until 7 or 8. But whatever it is, weaning food should not be introduced earlier than 4 months or beyond the age of 8 months. So now the third golden rule is to avoid early weaning or late weaning. Because too early weaning may lead to decline in sucking intensity, causing breastfeeding failure. So they might give up breast milk, right? There is an increased risk of infectious diarrhea if you do early weaning, and there is increased renal solid load because the renal are not mature. Then increased risk of developing food allergies and increased risk of aspiration because they are not ready. And there is development immaturity and the baby get frustrated. And this would be a difficult experience for both baby and the mother. And there can be protein excess and overfeeding, which can lead to obesity as well. So too late weaning may lead to undernutrition and growth failure and iron deficiency because too much of breast milk and lacking iron, and delayed oral motor function, which can lead to solid food aversion. That is a very important thing. So if you don't start weaning at correct age, so later the baby find difficult to take solids. So then it is too late. So there can be delayed social development, and there can be failure to establish good eating habits. So how should we do this? This can be done two ways, either baby-led weaning or the mother-led weaning. So baby-led weaning is they wean themselves from the breast. That means the baby control his solid food intake by self-feeding. And the baby learns most effectively by watching and imitating others. So they often begin by picking up and licking the food. So here, the baby is allowed to reject foods. You don't want to force him. And the child is allowed to decide how much he wants to eat. And there is no pillars. So you cannot go and චුට්ටයි කෑව කියලා පුරවන්න යන්න බෑ. So the meal should not be hurried. මනින් වැඩට යන්න ඕන කියලා වැඩ කාලා ඔබන්න බෑ. That is child abuse, right? Right. So what is mother-led weaning? Sometimes working mothers, or if the mother has any concerns of nutrient state or beauty conscious, so they might start weaning early. So the mother decide to how much she wants to feed, and baby is not allowed to reject foods. So somehow he push everything into the mouth, and again the meal is being hurried also because he don't have much time to spend. So which one is the better one? Better one is the baby-led feeding, but most of our babies are on mother-led feeding. So whatever it is, this sudden separation from mother's breast and from mother at all once may cause extra stress for your baby. So they might start thumb sucking them, right? So whatever it is, your baby's first solid food should begin with to begin with. How much your baby take is less important. So the idea is to getting them used to the idea of eating. And babies don't need 3 times meals a day to start with? That is a common question again that mothers ask, right? So this first food should include solid foods made into purees, which helps your baby to get accustomed to a spoon. And it should be in fine texture that is easy to swallow and easy to digest, and should be low allergenic potential with no additives. So therefore, it should be 100% natural products and should be a simple recipe and should be a mono ingredient. So usually we start with cereals with mix with milk or fruits. So when you give fruits also, you have to give one by one. You have to introduce one by one. You cannot give fruit salad rasa ඇති කියලා fruit salad දෙන්න බෑ. So you have to give one fruit at a time. Then they learn to taste that. Otherwise, they refuse that. So number 4, the golden rule number 4 is to avoid prolonged breastfeeding. Now, WHO recommends that all babies be gradually introduced appropriately family food after 6 months of age and continue to breastfeed for 2 years. So better to stop after 2 years, right? That is what we encourage most of the mothers. But sometimes if you can manage without interfering to the solid, you can continue. But if you tell that, but most of the time they mainly on breastfeed. That's what happens. Now, breastfeeding and tooth decay. Now, breastfeeding infants who fall asleep while nursing with unswallowed milk in their mouth are vulnerable to tooth decay. Now, breast milk itself doesn't cause tooth decay, right? So what happens is they just keep milk inside the mouth and just sleep. So the ultimate result is this. They look like attam, right? Usually they පොඩි ළමයි ලස්සනයිනේ. අඩු වශයෙන් පොඩි කාලේ හරි ලස්සන තියාගන්න පුළුවන් if you prevent this, right? So therefore, no night feeding after tooth eruption. So we don't recommend after 1 year, no night feeding. So after you brush your teeth, no milk can be given, right? So 5th golden rule is to eat healthy meals. Now, eat healthy meals. Now just think, why healthy eating matters, and is it easy to make healthy choices, and how much advertising is there for healthy food, and how many children consume the right amount of the proper food, and how many children have food discipline. Why healthy eating matters? Because now they have recognized failure to gain weight has been called a global epidemic now. It's not only confined to the Asia. Now, on the other hand, obesity is being increased, and type 2 diabetes has been described in children in recent years. And they have high lipid profile, increase the risk of developing heart disease. Is it easy to make healthy choices? Now, just if you go to the grocery stores or corner stores, movie theaters, fast food restaurants, sports events, even at school, you can see these things everywhere. Now, how much advertising is there for healthy food? How much advertising is there for unhealthy food? Now see, now here they have simulated this to breastfeeding. Now how unethical is this advertisement? And not only that, they bribe children all. Now recent years, now the size of the burger has become from 1954 to 2004, right? Now see the difference. Now French fries, then chocolate, and it has come to the mega bottles now, right? So this is called supersizing. Not only that, they they tell us to buy one and give one free. So the industry tries to hook people early, especially the young. So it's easy to get sucked by this advertisement. So how many children consume the right amounts of the proper food? Now we have to start from somewhere. Now the Ministry of Health, now they have started doing this. They have laid down the food guidelines. The school food guidelines should apply to all school-related activities in and out the school premises, and especially the sport events and the educational trips. And they have banned now pastries and the soft drinks to sell inside the school cafeteria. Now they have introduced these food guidelines, including 3 categories of food which should be served most and served moderately, and which foods should not include. Now, usually we recommend whole grain rather than the white grain, right? So what we recommend is rice, cereals, pasta, bread, and crackers, because white based grain they don't contain much fibers. So the whole grain it has more fiber and make you feel fuller for longer. So we recommend the fruits and vegetables. It can be either fresh, frozen, and it can be dried fruit or canning juice. So next golden rule is to decrease intake of sugar-filled beverages. So we discourage sweetened fruits and juices. So if you want to serve, it should be in moderate. So the intake of juice should be limited, and fruit juice lacks the fiber of whole fruit. So therefore, fruit juice offers no nutritional advantage over the whole fruit. So we recommend the fruit juice not exceeding 4 to 6 ounces per day. So what about the drinks? How many of us drink Coca-Cola and how many drink juices? So if we encourage them to, we discourage them to have these drinks. So therefore, what we should drink then? We recommend plenty of water, and we recommend to use skim milk. That is either low fat or a non-fat, right? And then 100% fruit juice with no added sugar. And what about the milk products? Always choose low fat and unsweetened products. And these products are now available in now milk fat, which contain less than 2% is recommended, and low fat cheese, then yogurt also, there is low fat or non-fat yogurt and unsweetened yogurt. Now I have displayed the trade names, don't just to make to aware. I have no favoration for any these brands, right? Then we the children like chocolate milk, yogurt drinks, and ice cream, but you have to you should not give too frequent. So excessive milk intake can displace the desire for the foods. So therefore, we recommend maximum of 24 ounces per day. That is sufficient to meet the daily calcium requirement for children. So what about meats and alternatives? So usually recommend lean cut meats, fish and poultry. And when we cook those also, you have to use low fat cooking methods, and usually not recommend to add in added fats such as oil, gravy and creamy sauces. So white fish is low in fat, and oil fish are rich in long chain omega-3 fatty acid, which are important for health. So try to eat at least 2 portions per day. So usually encourage to cut down saturated fat. Eating too much saturated fat increase both cholesterol level and the chance for developing heart disease. Those are the things that contains saturated fat: hard cheese, cakes, biscuit, pies, pastry, cream, and butter, which we should not encourage. So so we can replace with these foods with those high in unsaturated fat. So we can use sunflower oil and corn oil and olive oil, and avocado and nuts and seeds are good. Now, no more than 11% of dietary energy should come from saturated fat. And therefore, we have to limit saturated fat less than 7% and trans fat to less than 1% of daily calorie intake. But now, most of us eat about 20% more than the recommended maximum amount. So, too many sugar containing foods and drink consumed between meals is associated with, again, an increased tendency towards tooth decay. So therefore, discouraged to have sweet cakes, biscuit, and some carbonated drinks. So always go through your food labels and check how much saturated fat and sugar food contains. So now they have introduced color codes here, right? More than 5 grams of saturated fat per 100 grams of food means high in saturates. They paste red label for that, right? More than 15 gram of sugar per 100 gram of food means that food is high in sugar. Now, eating too much salt may raise blood pressure and leads to stroke and heart disease. So approximately 3/4 of the salt in our diet comes from the processed food. So you don't want to add any more salt. So drink about 6 to 8 glasses of fluid every day to stop getting dehydrated. And apart from water, most drinks count, but not alcohol. The good ones are fruit juices, milk, tea, coffee, and low-calorie soft drinks like coconut water and king coconut. So most of our children, they skip their breakfast. Breakfast can help to increase concentration and alertness during the morning. A healthy breakfast consists of whole grain cereals or a slice of toast with low fat spread and a glass of fruit juice. Some skip this breakfast because they think it will help them to lose weight. But skipping breakfast means we are more likely to fill up on snacks that are high in fat and no sugar before lunch. So research has shown that eating breakfast can help children to control their weight. So taking breakfast is very important. So battered fried products we discourage, especially pepperoni, wieners, bacon, nuggets, chicken wings, and fried meats. If the children like those, so better to have once a week. Now, families, the 7 golden rule is to decrease intake of junk food. Now, some foods provide very few nutrients. The students can fill up on these foods and will not have any room for healthier foods. What are these? Tippy tips, chewing gums, bite packets, and soft drinks, sport drinks, energy drinks, ice packs, jelly, popsicles, sausages, chips, and Maggi noodles, cookies, fries, and donuts. So we should not allow them to have this until the age of 5 years. So always focus on what you can change. So you have to adapt a better dietary habits and choose a varied combination of healthy food is the first step. And consuming the right amount of the proper foods may be the single most important thing you can do to lower your risk. So what are these? The healthy snacks. Now, these are the healthy snacks. So we can encourage all these to the children. The fresh food, raw vegetables, cheese, peanut butter, whole grain crackers, milk, 100% fruit juices, sandwiches, and the yogurt. So how many of children have food discipline? There are some factors that can increase your risk of heart disease, even though you cannot control. Now, even at this stage, we have to think of this because now, as you all know, most of us has now non-communicable diseases. This has started from the age of at the age of the at the beginning. So you have to adapt the healthy diet from this age. So these factors that you cannot change: age, gender, hereditary, and race. So you have to have a balanced diet. And first thing is base your meals on the starchy food, and these should make up 1/3 of our diet. And starchy food provide energy as well as dietary fiber, calcium, iron, and B vitamins. So we have to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You cannot skip any of these. Usually, the recommended breakfast is this: the whole grain series of porridge, and lunch, whole grain rice, salad, or sandwich made with whole grain bread, and for dinner, rice, noodles, or pasta. So you don't. Our mothers, what they do, they always try to give rice for each meals. So sometimes the children doesn't like that. You can change, right? So always you have to limit your portion size. So what you mean by a portion? The amount of single food item served in a single eating occasion. It can be a meal or a snack. And many people confuse portion size with serving size. Now, serving size is a standardized unit measuring food. That is, for example, a cup or an ounce. But portion is different. Now consumers often eat the whole thing, thinking that they have eaten one serving, right? They do not realize that they have selected a large portion size that was more than one serving. Now he might eat a one muffin, but it's not a one portion. It's a half a portion and equal to 2 servings, right? And usually the dietitian recommend this diet pyramid, which we cannot understand, right? Nobody can understand. Nobody can keep it in the mind. So there is a simple way to and a quick way to estimate that. That is the plate rule. Now, when you take a plate, half of the plate should contain vegetables, and the quarter lean meat and the half starch, and with 1 serving of fruit and 1 serving of milk. This is the easiest way to explain to your mothers. Many portions served in our restaurants and at home are more than 1 serving, right? So you can take an idea of the portion sizes by going through this. Now, usually meat or fish, the size deck of card is the size of 1 portion, right? And the size of a baseball is equal to 1 portion of vegetable or fruits. And 1 baked potato is the size of a computer mouse. Right. Now, now I'll go through some feeding tips that can be explained to the mothers. Right. Now, you should not offer food when they are not hungry. And the baby should be ready for food. How to recognize? Usually they drool when hungry and take an interest what you are eating, and open mouths when a spoon approaches. So wait until they're hungry. So formula milk should not be given unless medically indicated. Even you have to wait until for 1 year to give cow's milk, right? Usually now we encourage to have cup feeding from the 6 months of age, right? So you have to introduce the cup from around 6 months and offer sips of water with meals, and by giving that, baby learns to sip, and that leads to better for your baby's eruption of teeth and all. And usually the babies like bright color plates, forks and spoons. And you can provide variety of different color foods also, but you don't give added colors, right? Then if a baby does not like a new food the first time, you have to can try again later. And sometimes the mothers comes and tell they give twice and the baby refuse and baby vomited, right? So they think that that food is allergy to him. That is not so. Now they have found you can try 20 times. You give keep a gap and try next time, and he might take it in at 20th time, right? And always let your baby self-feed and allow the child to touch their food and at least attempt to feed by themselves. And always improve self-feeding skills, and always keep the baby safe while you're eating, and do not get upset over a mess. Don't make a big thing just because they spill the food, right? Other thing, the important thing is to do not use food as a reward or pacifier or a punishment, right? Now make a kawot abi babata make a dennan kila ehma you should not encourage, right? And you should not punish also, right? And from the second year, a combination of independent and dependent feeding is necessary to satisfy the nutritional and caloric needs. And most of them learn to feed themselves independently by the second year. Always eliminate distractions. Now we have seen a lot of people go right around the house feeding the child. That is not allowed, right? You have to have keep the child in one place, and you have to concentrate on the feeding, and you cannot distract and give feed the children. That is not recommended. And always eat with the family, right? That's how they learn how to eat. And never give your baby juice in a bottle, and this can lead to breastfeeding failure also, right? So as soon as he realized that it can that be taken easily, they will stop breastfeeding. And always be relaxed and loving and flexible and patient, and let the baby to decide when he or she is full, and he should be in the driving seat. And all these help, all what I have already told, help your baby to establish a positive attitude about the food and eating. And the most important thing is, do not compare with the next door person, next door child, right? So they have different body frames, their intake is different. So as long as their growth is as per schedule, you don't want to worry. And always remember, your toddler will usually eat the same food you do, but only in small portions. And excessive milk intake can displace the desire for food, as I have already explained. So you have to cut down your milk intake when the child grows. So I usually give a rough guideline, but usually the pediatrician don't recommend, right? I say from 6 to 8 months, 3-hourly feed, 8 to 12 months, 4-hourly feeds, and 6 months to 1 year, 6-hourly. 6-hourly means only 4 times per day, 4 times per day for milk feeds, right? After 2 years, no breast milk, right? So stop breastfeeding after 2 years. Now, anyway, there are babies who can occasionally fast. So these babies consider the fact that they may just not be hungry. Sometimes they have they may be taking the food every day, and for 1 or 2 days they might refuse. Right? That is normal. So try to feed your child at a later time. But there is a proportion of children who are frequently picky eaters. So when dealing with these children, make sure you have a variety of healthy food on your child's plate, right? If you refuse that, you have to go move to the next one, right? If he or she refuses a certain food, simply move to the next thing. That is how you can tackle these children, right? But only 1% of children can be constant fussy babies. But for our mothers, they always come and tell us they almost all are constant fussy babies. That is because they have mulavaraddagan. Everything what have I told and not followed. Right? So by that time, we cannot, it is very difficult to change. Right? Right? Even we tell all this, they don't want to grasp also. They just go on what they want to do, right? Right. Now, but there are only a small proportion, less than 1%, right? Constant fussy babies. So they are especially fussy at the meal time. So for these children, doesn't seem to matter what you feed them; they refuse, right? So this is the place where you can do a little creativity. Uh, this is where your grandmother and grandfather can help. So here you are allowed to distract them and the feed. Right? They know very well than us how to feed those babies. Right? So other babies you have to sit with the family and let them to eat. Only this small proportion is allowed to distract. Right? So by doing that, make mealtime entertaining. So always sit up and hold the head up to make sure that the baby is safe while eating, and uh, uh, always better to stay with the baby even they self-feed, right? So always cut food pieces to less than quarter inch to prevent any uh, choking episode. Do not feed your baby honey within first year, right? It can go, they can develop infant botulism, right? And do not introduce peanuts, rambutan until the age of 4 years. So we have seen children coming uh, who are who have been choked, and some of these found dead on admission, right? So always stir baby food well to avoid hot spots as well, right? Right. Now, we encourage to delay introduction of highly allergenic foods like egg white and red fish in infants who have had a family history of atopy. So we tell to start egg white at 9 months of age. So for those babies, right, with history of atopy, and the red fish after 1 year, right, and the highly allergenic food should be strictly avoided during the first year. After the first birthday, the this is a very common complaint again by mothers. පළවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ හොඳට කෑවා දෙවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ ඉඳන් කන්නේ නැහැ. හරි. That is because the growth rate slows after the first year. If you go through the CHDR, you can very well can see growth rate is slowed down, right? And appetite decreases, and the dietary habits may be inconsistent and unpredictable, and may eat variable quantities, and may choose from a small variety of foods, and make the transition to a modified adult diet. So during the second year of life, therefore, a combination of independent and dependent feeding is necessary to satisfy the nutritional and calorie needs of these children. So there you can first let him to self-feed, and you can, if you want to do some pull-ups there, right? So somehow they learn themselves to feed independent. So you can choose full-fat dietary products after the age of 1 year, and they can now drink whole cow's milk and plus breast milk, but no breast milk during night. Now school-going children, these children, we is encouraged to to limit the intake of fruit juices. So consumptions of fruit juices should not exceed 4 to 6 ounces per day. Right. Now we talk about the taking food. Now we need to balance the energy from food and drinks with the energy we use up through activity. So young children should do at least 60 minutes of physical activity every day. But in our case, now see, regular exercise among youth declines as the rate of schooling increases. This has found this is the WHO found, right? So being active means you can do active living, brisk walking, gardening, using staircases, active recreation. Especially you can encourage these children to go for dancing classes, cycling, and sports, football, basketball, netball, running, and gymnastics. Cricket, to our children, I don't know, right? Sometimes they just wait most of the time, right? Unless you do the exercises separately, right? Now, how many children sleep 8 hours per night? Some goes to bed very late in the night, and some awake very early. It's not only the short duration of sleep matters, but also timing of sleep affects the health. So To maintain the healthy lifestyles, you have to eat well, and you have to have regular physical activity and manage stress and avoid destructive habits. So, where are our children now? We live in a very fast-paced society and pick up food on the fly and skip meals and eat sugar-laden treats and buy processed food and eat foods that have been chemically treated, and most of them are inactive. So what shall we do now? What should we aim? We have to eat fresh, organic, non-genetically modified food and move your body every day and free from chronic stresses and sleep 8 hours at least per night and work and live outside and breathe only fresh, unpolluted air, drink only pure, clean water, and free from exposure to environmental toxins. How should we try to achieve this? Take care of your body and less sick days and better education leads to better health and few complications later in the life and live longer. So you can make simple changes what I have already told. Consume a diet rich in fruit and vegetables and choose whole grain, high fiber food and eat fish, especially only the oily fish like salmon, and choose lean meats and select fat-free milk products and limit beverages and foods with added sugar and limit foods with saturated and trans fat and choose and prepare food with little or no salt and cut back on pastries, high calorie bakery products and take high quality supplements like fish oil, omega-3 fatty acid, vitamin D, antioxidant and probiotics. Right. That's all I have to tell you. Thank you for listening.
For this lecture, a very practical topic with much valuable information. I'm sure there are questions. In the absence of questions, I would like to mention that will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, so share it among your colleagues later reference. Portion of the lecture. Let's call upon the
Is my wife.
oh, got that. So then I suppose I don't know.